Hello, hello, luminary. This week brings us the full moon in Gemini and some amazing insights into your purpose. The energy asks you to confront your dreams, your ideals, and spiritual beliefs. And this week also challenges you to ground into your aspiration to bring a sense of structure and responsibility to your change making work. I want to share all that ahead this week, so listen in to this episode about the full moon in Gemini. Welcome to Star Powered Astrology for Changemakers. I'm Leslie Tagorda, your guide, a Hawaii-born Filipino Jewish astrologer who loves navigating visionaries like you through the spiritual journey of your work so that you can be inspired to lead by your chart and become the luminary leader you were born to be. Welcome back, Luminary. Can you believe we are at our 12th full moon of 2023? We have one bonus full moon coming up, but this is a beautiful Gemini full moon being illuminated by the beautiful Sagittarius sun. Now, at the time of this recording, I'm recording this right before American Thanksgiving, before we go off to holiday here in the States to celebrate our most complicated holiday. And this full moon, by the time you are listening to this on the full moon on Saturday, so many things have shifted. I really do hope that all of us were able to have a peaceful and loving and most connected Thanksgiving, no matter where in the world we are. This episode drops on Saturday, November 25th. I just can't believe it's already November 25th. By the time so many things have shifted by the time I have recorded this episode on Tuesday, the 21st, and you hear it on the 25th, the sun moves into Sagittarius, Mars moves into Sagittarius, Mars joins up the sun. There's a lot of things that a lot of heat that is building up around the American Thanksgiving time. So, now that you've made it through American Thanksgiving, if you just look through those last few days, just give yourself a pat on the back because you made it. You somehow cooled down all of those heated energies that are just, we need a little bit of heat to cook our food and things like that, but not too much heat at the dinner table. But on Saturday, we also have Mercury moving into the shadow zone. So, from here on out until we have that Mercury retrograde towards the end of the year, I want you to start noticing the things, the belief systems, the stories, the morality, the ethics that you thought you believed in that might need a little bit of reorganizing. I absolutely know with all, the ongoing conflicts in the Middle East, I've had to do a lot of rethinking, re-understanding some narratives, some stories, my position, my beliefs, my own morality, my opinions, all of these things. So Mercury, as it's going to be going in the shadow zone now of its retrograde period, I want you to start thinking of all the places where your stories and beliefs are starting to come apart and unravel, because that is going to be your clue into what needs to be rewritten during that Mercury retrograde we have coming at the end of the year. On top of all of this, Mars has been moving side by side, almost at the same pace as the sun for the last few weeks. It will continue forth. And as soon as both Mars and the sun moved into Sagittarius, they're both squaring off with Saturn. And this is a big signature in our upcoming full moon. So I just want us to all remember that with Mars and with Mars, anytime Mars is involved, Mars can really add, inflame things, it can activate things, it can energize things. And Saturn is here to lay down the law and draw a line in the sand and put some boundaries up. And so as Mars and both the sun move towards Saturn, and by the time this full moon happens, they'll be past that kind of peak zone, but that imprint will still absolutely be there. I want you to remember that this kind of closing square as both the sun and Mars approach Saturn, The spark, the activation, what you're taking action on is now coming from within. It's not something coming from without happening to you, but this is now coming from within. The true motivation and activation, what you truly want to create based on your belief systems, based on your values. This is all coming to a head this full moon. So I'm going to stop there right now because I just wanted to give you kind of a high level overview of the energy that we have coming up into this last week of November into December and our full moon. Before we dive into more full moon juiciness, I want to share with you all the things that we have coming up. As I've mentioned, I am an Aquarius Sun conjunct Jupiter. I have my moon in Sagittarius conjunct Neptune. And when I decide to do something, sometimes it is big and sometimes it is all too much. And so, as per usual, at the end of the year, there's so many things that are unfolding that I want to get onto your radar. So, let me share a few things that are coming up. Please get a pen handy or check your emails coming up. I have my small business Saturn Day email coming through. And on Monday, we have a Cyber Moon Day email coming through. So be sure to read those emails. If you don't have time to jot down all the things, I'll have all of the details in those emails that are coming up. If you're not on my email list, head on over to starpowered.com and sign up for my email right now. Okay, so first things first, I want to let you know about a panel of six astrologers total, five astrologers plus me, who will be doing a panel live, a discussion of Star Power 2024. We will be unfolding the stories of all of the different planetary meetups and eclipses in 2024 so that you can plan your 2024 with purpose, with meaning, with strategy, and just know what is ahead energetically in the stars. I'm super excited to bring five other amazing astrologers. This year, I wanted to do it differently. I didn't want to be the only person sharing my perspective of the stars. I wanted to cast a wider net and bring together so many more experiences, perspectives, backgrounds, and specialties. Joining me will be Celeste Brooks of Astrology by Celeste. If you follow Celeste on Instagram, she's amazing. She loves moon mastery. I'll be bringing in Wade Caves. He is a horary and mundane astrologer, an amazing teacher who really teaches you about traditional aspects of astrology and looks at astrology as different energies of a moment in time. It's really amazing to watch him work. We'll also have Canadian astrologer and business astrologer and teacher Malada Sachik. Malada, I have learned so much from Malada. I consider her one of my astrology mentors who's really been able to validate some of my learnings. Then we'll also have Ishel Lunar, who weaves in so many different star traditions from human design to Mayan cosmology, as well as archetypal astrology. She studied from the source with Rick Tarnas, so she's going to be adding her beautiful wisdom. And then, of course, we'll also have Narayana Mantufar. Oh my goodness, she is brilliant and amazing, an astrologer, a journalist, a writer, an artist, weaving in so many aspects of soul and divinity and femininity into astrology. So please join the six of us for our star powered astrology panel that is happening on December 1st at 12:30 p.m. Pacific, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. You can register and pay what you can, knowing that we will be dividing all the proceeds between the six of us, as well as making a donation to a yet to be determined peacekeeping organization in the Middle East. We'll be exploring the 2024 energies through the lens of leadership, entrepreneurship, social justice, politics, and environmental causes. So if you want to register and pay what you can, head on over to starpowered.com/panel. Okay, And second thing I want to remind you about, and because it is Small Business Saturn Day and only 5 more days until early bird pricing ends for Star Powered Circle, I want to remind you that we have Star Powered Circle at the early bird price of only $111 a month. For only $111 a month, you get a year-long gift of community and belonging, a home where you can explore your leadership development, where you can make your mark with your brand and do that inner awakening all through the red thread of astrology. This community is life affirming and life changing. Not only do you get 3 monthly meetups with me and other astrological leaders a month, you get 3 Astrobrand trainings, you get 2 eclipse challenges, new moon ceremonies, monthly star hours where you can get like feedback on your business and your brand and what's happening directly from me in these mini readings. It is absolutely amazing. So, this is your last chance before November 30th to get into Star Powered Circle at the founding rate of only $111 a month. I know it for some of us, it might seem like a stretch, but believe me, when I pour so much value into this container so that you can understand your purpose, so that you can create tangible results and impact for others, so that you can be sought after in your field, and so that you can make both space for both life and work, and to be witnessed and celebrated and supported in community. I want you to have the inner fire and flow that makes you unstoppable in 2024. So if you're interested in Star Powered Circle, please head on over to starpowered.com/circle and be sure to sign up. On that page, if you're interested in more one-on-one advisory with me, you can find information about the luminary level where you get so much one-on-one support from me throughout the year. And if you are interested in becoming Astrobrand certified and practicing the Astrobrand method with your clients, this is your time to join into Circle right now also, because we have certification begins in February for the next 12 months. So you'll get a head start. So again, head on over to starpower.com/circle and join today. Okay, thank you for listening to my little commercial. Let's talk about this full moon in Gemini. Again, an absolutely sparkly, shiny, energetic full moon. If you are watching on the video version on YouTube, you can see that I am sharing the chart of the full moon that happens on Moon Day, November 27th in the wee morning, 1:16 a.m. Pacific, 4:16 a.m. Eastern. Now, if you're watching this online and see my chart, don't mind the house calculations. I created this chart from where I live here in San Francisco. So the houses will be different depending on where you live. The most important part of this full moon is notice that we have Mars, again, intertwined with our sun, sitting across the moon as it does, and T-squaring Saturn. So Saturn is sitting as a referee at 0 degrees of Pisces, right in between the full moon and the sun at that 4-degree mark of Gemini and Sagittarius. Now, if you've been listening to me for a while, you know that full moons are times of illumination where we can see everything in bright, clear light. That can cause our emotions to rise, our thoughts to rise, our energies to rise. And with Mars there, oof, everything is rising. And Saturn there, you might be kind of like just get kind of stretched to your boundaries. But it's so interesting. Before I go further, I just remembered that I pulled a card. My friend Astra Frost has her beautiful Sacred Medicine Oracle deck, which I always refer to, and as well as her book, You Are the medicine, which is all about the full moons, the 13 moons of indigenous wisdom, ancestral connection, and animal spirit guidance. Well, according to Asha in her book, our 12th full moon in November is called Little Spirit Moon. And this moon, the 12th moon of creation, is a time when we dream good health into being. As we walk towards healing, we remember that we are already whole. This moon teaches us that when we focus our intentions on healing, we gain deep wisdom. I love thinking about that because oftentimes that moon is our Gemini moon. And when we think astrologically, the Gemini full moon is reflecting the light, reflecting the light that is being illuminated by the Sagittarius Sun. And Sagittarius Sun is really about moving into our purpose, moving into our big why, connecting the dots to our dreams, and pointing that arrow and aiming towards the stars, to the moon, to the stars beyond, so that we can expand our ideas and our ideals. And the Gemini is about the mindset, all the little details, the logic, the calculations, all of the things that we need to put into place, get our ducks in a row so that we can take that big leap of faith. And that Gemini full moon is showing us all the little bits and pieces where our mindset might be still stuck, right? All the little details that prevent us from taking action on our purpose. And so, in a gist, that full moon is really about our mindset and our purpose and what is being illuminated right now. And when we talk about our full moons, again, because it's a full illumination, a full moon phase is to really be honest with ourselves and to look at all the things that we have done in our life to accomplish our purpose, to maximize, to optimize, to grow, to exceed our Sagittarius expectations, to celebrate those things. And the things that we haven't yet accomplished in that Sagittarian purpose energy, removing those blocks, pruning them away. And so, my question that I had asked Asha's Sacred Medicine Oracle deck, and, the astrology is going to support us as well. There's so many paths to get to that right question. Was I asked, what is the energy that we needed to bring to really fulfilling our purpose and removing those obstacles and blocks of our mindset? And of course, so beautiful. This deck is just so gorgeous. And the card I pulled was 27, Reclamation Home. If you're watching this on video, I'm sorry about my manicure. Just haven't had time. Reclamation Home. And in short, Asha says to heal our ability to connect the dots to our purpose is to reclaim all the aspects of ourselves and to return to home. She starts off, for so long you've searched for belonging, a space that feels like home to your spirit and heart. Separation and disconnection are a result of the flawed systems in our society, and there are times the connection to our belonging is fractured through traumatic life, familial and ancestral events. Your desire to belong is an inherent part of the human experience. There is no shame in the journey you've been on to find a safe connection where you feel accepted and seen. This is so beautiful to me, on a personal level because of Circle. My personal offer with Star Powered Circle, when I had this vision of Star Powered Circle, I really did see it as a home away from home, a place of inclusivity, a place of belonging where so many people of many diverse backgrounds, of many different experiences, came together over their shared love of astrology. And this card is asking you to remember that you create your own belonging. This card reminds us in Asha's description to look at our separation and disconnection and as a result of the flawed systems in our society. that there are many times when the connection to our belonging is fractured through traumatic life, familial, and ancestral events. And so when we really think about this full moon, about belief and mindset, and removing the blocks that prevent us from stepping into our own belonging or our own purpose or exceeding our expectations, that I know all of us here have the capacity to do. It's these little thorns of our mindset that has been sprinkled from our traumatic events, from stories and beliefs that at one time kept us safe from from all of the different threats in our lives, but now keep us trapped and away from moving into our purpose. I want to get back to the astrology of this full moon, because this is giving us the way to understand where these stories come from. Are these stories ours? Are these stories that our family has told us because at one time it kept us safe? Is it stories from our society or culture that have been told to us so that we wouldn't be bigger, so that we would be kept in control? Is it stories that were to us by media that told us that we weren't good enough because we didn't fit into a specific type of narrow definition or narrow identity? Well, this full moon is showing us that with Mars conjunct the sun, that we need to take action on our purpose. Now, I remember, not too long ago, I knew somebody who told me, "I'm so jealous of you, Leslie. You found your purpose. You know your purpose." And they were so upset because they haven't yet found their purpose. And so I asked them, I'm like, well, what are you taking action on? What are you doing in your life to go after that and experience a lot of things? Now, while I loved astrology since I was 6 years old, I didn't know that it was my purpose well until I was in my 40s. I knew that somehow my purpose was always about being myself, getting used to being myself, learning about my identity, getting comfortable, and unlearning so many parts of the stories that I really believed until very, very, very recently. Everything that I've been doing has been revealing that purpose. But Mars there is reminding us that, yeah, I had to take risks, I had to take chances, I had to take action on what this purpose was to really ignite it. And now I am living, I am in that purpose. So, what about for you? Sometimes Mars is saying, you got to take a chance, you got to take a risk. You have to be a little bit scared, because jumping into your purpose, jumping on your highest path is absolutely unknown. What is your comfort with the unknown? Now, the full moon, again, remember, is also squaring with Saturn. Saturn sits between as kind of the referee in what is called a T square. A T square happens when there's an opposition, and a full moon is always in opposition, and like where the moon and the sun are facing off. The planet that is sitting in between of that opposition, forming a square to the opposing energies, this time Saturn at 0 degrees of Pisces, is the energetic process that shows you how to decide. Sometimes people talk about oppositions needing to be integrated, but to me, oppositions are about a choice, about deciding one way or not. Knowing that when you're making a choice that is based on where you want to go and really thinking about the consequences versus the type of choice where, I can remind my son when he goes out with his friends or goes anywhere to make good choices, because sometimes young children are not thinking about consequences. If you've thought about your consequences and if you really thought about where you wanted to go, and even if it doesn't end up where you land, you know that choice is right because you ended up picking up skills that you needed for your next step. So when you're faced with an opposition, and you're looking at your choices and you're looking at the consequences and you're making it as an informed decision as you can at that right moment in time, there are no wrong choices. Those choices, whatever the result, even if it's a quote unquote mistake, those choices are giving you the information and the lessons that you need to make a different choice next time. So oppositions, again, choices. T square with Saturn involved in this full moon. Saturn is there saying, what are your boundaries? What is your expertise? What are you here to master? Let those be the reins that give you the container for the vessel so that you're not spreading all of your all of your Gemini Sagittarius ideas wild, right? Part of being somebody who overdoes things is because I'm not short of ideas and I want to say yes to everything. And Saturn, thankfully, Saturn is here saying, okay, you only have so much time, so much capacity. What are you going to prioritize? What's going to have the most bang for the buck? What's going to really feed into your own expertise and mastery? What are you here to do? What can you say no to? And saying no to Sagittarius and to Gemini, whew, that's where things really open up, because that kind of push and pull of that Saturn and that Jupiterian Mercury energy is where the magic happens, because there's so much friction in there. There's so much energy. There's so much momentum to catalyze. So again, this full moon is highly, highly active. Now, also at the time of this full moon, we have Mercury squaring off with Neptune. Mercury again in its shadow zone. So, noticing things where your belief systems are falling apart, where you might be getting confused. So, in times of conflict and confusion, instead of trying to find the answers right now, start to dig into the question. What are you confused about? What is in power? What is in your power to do? What does your intuition say? If you can't get in touch with your intuition, why can't you get into your intuition? What don't you yet trust about your intuition? These are just some possible examples of Mercury in its shadow zone squaring off with Neptune. Maybe to understand isn't about making pro and cons lists. Maybe sometimes it's about drawing or painting or creating art or being out in nature to come back to your senses and to your own truth. But this is definitely a time where we are all reconsidering what morality, what truth means to us. That is Sagittarius. So, this full moon, spotlighting all the ways your small thinking might be hindering your big dreams and purpose. There might be a misconception that you don't know enough or don't have all the information. You're possibly just stuck in that spiral of overthinking. If your mind has been going nonstop this season, indeed, you're in that overdoing, overthinking mode. This will be your full moon to not only realize your purpose, define your purpose, but to act on your purpose. And if you haven't taken action on your purpose, to really get to the heart at why not. Now, Saturn, remember that Saturn in Pisces is about mastering ease and flow. And Saturn is acting as that referee between that your dreams of your big why of that Sagittarius sun and all the little details of that Gemini moon. Now, another big thing about this particular full moon is that Venus here at 21 degrees of Libra, closely conjunct the South Node, is at the same degree as that October solar eclipse. Remember that annular eclipse, that ring of fire eclipse, where we were letting go all the ways we gave our power to people, all of those unhealthy power dynamics. Well, now that Venus is there at that 21 degrees, we are reconnecting to our relationships, those relationships rooted in power, rooted in equity. So, this full moon, I really want you to dig in Go deep so that you can connect the dots to what beliefs do you need to reevaluate and how you can activate your purpose. So I want to offer a few personalizations, full moon reflections based on your rising sign axes. So I always love to do the full moon reflections with the opposition. So the pairings of the polar opposites, Aries, Libra, Taurus, Scorpio, simply because we have the full moon and the full moon and the sun in opposition. So I like to do these in opposition. So, okay, let's take a look at our full moon reflection so that you can activate your purpose this Gemini full moon. If you're an Aries or Libra, I want you to let go of the belief that you are a failure. Believe instead that there is no failure, only lessons and skills and tool sets you pick up on your way. If you're a Taurus or Scorpio this Gemini full moon, I want you to let go of the belief that resources and opportunities are limited. I want you to believe instead that there's plenty for everyone and that money is a renewable resource. If you're a Gemini or Sagittarius, this full moon in Gemini, I want you to let go of the belief that you're not enough and that you are isolated. Believe instead that others need you and that you create your own belonging. If you're a Cancer or Capricorn this Gemini full moon, I want you to let go of the belief that things have to be perfect. Believe instead that creation is a process and criticism is simply information. If you're a Leo or Aquarius, this full moon, I want you to let go of the belief that your ideas are not creative enough. Believe instead that you and your work are the life of the party. And if you are Virgo or Pisces, this Gemini full moon, I want you to let go of the belief that you aren't an expert or don't have enough training. Believe instead that people need to hear what you have to say and that you are in flow. All right, my friends, thank you for listening all the way to the end. And I hope that during this holiday rush that you can show the ones you love your most appreciation with a thoughtful gift. Remember, a thoughtful gift isn't from a big box store, nor is it made of plastic to be consumed once. A meaningful gift is one that speaks to the values of the recipient and allows the recipient to receive joy and reminds the recipient of the love you give. And sometimes a meaningful gift is the one you give to yourself. During this season of gift giving, one for you, one for the others, consider purchasing a gift from a small business like mine, where your money goes directly to the creators. Remember that my business I am a person of color, woman-owned business. My team is also of color, of many mixed identities, and we run on kindness, acceptance, and freedom. When you make a purchase for my business, you are investing in us changing the faces of leadership. Consider a gift for yourself, a gift of belonging, a gift of global community. If you're interested in Star Powered Circle, head on over to starpowered.com/circle. Early bird pricing ends on November 30th. And remember, my Star Powered panel, a live gathering of 6 global astrologers discussing what's on the horizon in 2024, happens on December 1st. So head on over to starpowered.com/panel. Pay what you can. We won't turn anyone away for lack of funds. All right, my friends, until next week. As a human design projector, my energy shines more brightly because of people like you who share my work. If you enjoy this podcast and want to help build a movement of innovative astrology and leadership and spark the intuitive revolution, please rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts, or better yet, share this podcast with your change-making besties. We will all shine brighter together as we create the future we want to see.